Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Kicking Tables. Today, we'd like to welcome Jade and Ben, who are here to talk to us about their game called Mud. Mud, the game, not the substance. So let's get that straight. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Why don't we
Yeah,
start
happy to
off
be
with
here.
giving you guys a chance to tell us what Mud is?
Well, Mud is it's kind of a variant on a take that card game. So very easy to pick up. Um, some people call it a filler game. Um, I think it's the simplicity level is very easy, but the strategy gets very complicated. Um, I can dive into the rules if you want. Do you want me to just go straight into the rules and
Go straight in. Tell us,
details?
yeah, what is the game? How does it play
Oh,
through?
no
Like, what's the
problem.
theme?
Mud, you're essentially playing a wealthy politician or political influencer trying to buy an election, trying to influence the next presidential election. And the twist is that you don't really care which political party that you belong to. So you're trying to lay down voters, which are cards in your hand, onto a voter map in front of you, which is just a space in front of you. And each voter card looks like currency. So there's a little
Okay.
bit of political commentary there. Also, the voter cards are broken into different regions of the United States, where they're from,
Okay.
their income bracket, and their political leaning, either left, right, or undecided. And if you, in front of you, sort of like, old school games like Gin Rummy or Hearts or something, in front of you, if you have three voter cards in all four regions that all share the same political affiliation, you win the game. So that's essentially what you're going for.
Okay.
Now, throughout the game, you're going to get other types of cards. These cards are going to have pictures of rats on them, and they're sort of like extra powers or advantage cards. You can play these rats to do things like steal voters from other players from their voter map, or spy on their hand and take a card from their hand. But every time you use one of these rat cards, you have to draw a scandal card.
Hmm.
Scandal card is not part of the deck. It's a separate card. It's square. And on every scandal card, there is a unique punishment. And also on the card is a unique scandal that really happened in American history.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So no names are used, but you can kind of figure it out. But every punishment does something different. So you don't know what you're going to get when you play these rat cards. And
Right.
that's kind of the difference. That's what sort of crosses the threshold beyond just a traditional take that game, I believe, is that there's this unique risk reward mechanic where you say, all right, well, I got this rat card. I can steal these voters, and that'll give me an advantage. And I can do more with that. I can advance my position in the game with that. But I don't know what the scandal is going to be. And you take it and if you can look at the scandal, but then you put it face down on your voter map. So nobody else knows what you got except for you.
Okay.
And the only way that somebody can reveal that is if they play a dig card on you, which is another type of rat card.
Okay. So you can kind of plan towards your scandal then, because you know what the scandal is. So you can
Yes,
kind of you
definitely.
can prepare for it.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about the game, I think, is that every time I've played it without fail, it feels like it follows a definitive three-act structure. There's the beginning, which is sort of the figuring yourself out, planning your strategy phase. And those phases, when you use those rat cards, you can do more planning to accommodate whatever scandal you have.
Right.
But as you get into Act Three, when things are very volatile and it seems like anybody could win, those scandals can be absolutely damning to your strategy because you couldn't have accounted for the scandal you just got
Right.
late in the game.
Yeah. Do you need to understand politics to play this game?
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Not
Good.
at all.
Good, because I am terrible with politics.
Listen, clearly to be in politics, you don't need to understand politics.
You've got
Exactly.
a
So,
point there. Absolutely, you've got a point.
so besides the current circus that is U.S. politics right now, what else was led to your inspiration to this in this game?
Well, I thought of this game, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. I believe it was during the 2016 presidential campaign, when it just seemed like scandals were coming out left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching the news and just thinking, like, this is absurd. All they're doing is they're hedging their bets for these scandals. Like the media will pick it up and they'll lose a certain percentage of their voters, and then they'll just keep going. And they'll do something else and it'll be nefarious as well. And they'll lose another percentage of the voters, but then they'll do something else and they'll gain a percentage of their voters. I mean, it just felt like the game mechanics wrote themselves after that. So this idea that you can just keep playing as sort of unethically as possible and still get ahead. And then it seemed like there were candidates that tried to have very little scandals or not doing anything that seems to be far reaching in their power. And they would get overshadowed by the media covering all these other candidates. So, I think it produced it felt obvious to me, at some point to be like, hey, we should probably do this. And then also, I guess, like, I'm a fan of just like old school games. I've always liked, even when Ben and I were developing side effects, I loved the idea of like going to like out to a bar and playing with your friends, and the way you would play after dinner, over some drinks, you'd play, Egyptian rat screw in high school cafeteria tables, or you play, gin rummy with, your parents, or poker. And there's something sort of classically beautiful about those games. And I've always wanted to like add to that tradition of gaming. And so like, I think that we in Pillbox Games sort of enter that sort of space in a way. At least I think that we do.
All right, I've got a quick question too for Ben. Ben, you're the illustrator. What was? I absolutely love the artwork on both side effects actually, and this absolutely beautiful artwork. What was your inspiration in coming up with this art style?
We do a lot of research first, as I think is the most important thing. We are referencing vintage ballots, political cartoons from the last century. Obviously, currency design is huge. We want it to look like it's kind of a time and place. So there was a pretty extensive period where we're just kind of gathering swipe and researching, kind of figuring out like what the right comment. And that was the same thing for side effects too, where we were looking at like a lot of like Art Deco, vintage pharmaceutical ads and stuff like that. So, kind of in how Pillbox Games, we've always kind of drew inspiration from kind of unexpected real world systems to turn those systems into games. We also obviously have a huge library of media to reference in terms of the history of that thing we're referencing in terms of the art too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
Now, Jade, you touched a little bit on some of the different cards in the game. Can you go through what all the different types of cards are? Did you touch on all of them during your original description, or are there others that we haven't heard about yet?
In terms of card types, I think I covered all of them. There's the voter cards, there's the rat cards, and then there's scandals, which is its own separate deck. So that's really it. The game is pretty simple.
It's a
and
very
I think
simple
that makes
set,
it easy to understand.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right. For the scandal cards, give us an example of maybe one or two of the punishments that a player may have to contend with when they flip that card.
Oh, well, I mean, it could be anything from, lose one of each economic class to lose 3 Southern conservative voters. Usually it's broken up into specific categories of voters. So you're either losing something in a certain class or a certain political leaning or a certain region. And then there's some wild scandals in there where you can, like the person inflicting the dig card on you, we call them the inflictor. They can draw any card from the discard pile. They can make you show your hand to everybody. So, by and large, I would say you're either losing voters from your map, they're being stolen from you, or there's some miscellaneous punishments peppered in there.
Now,
one of my favorite. There's a scandal where it actually backfires on the person who dug it.
Oh, nice! Excellent.
Yeah.
Jade, you were saying earlier that some of the scandals are based on real scandals. Can you mention one or two of the real ones you turned into scandal cards? And what is it in the game? So you like, what's the real one versus what's in the game?
Well, how about we play a little quiz? How about I
right.
give you like 5 random ones? You tell me if you can guess what it is. And you guys are from Canada, right?
Yes.
Right.
So this is gonna maybe be difficult. I don't know if you guys
It
know anything about
probably will.
American
U.S.
history.
politics are
Yeah,
not my forte.
But U.S. politics is also very much in the media these days.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
So,
I have the files on my computer.
oh, you have the files? I had the cards here, but I
Same difference then.
yeah. Okay, so this is pretty easy. I'm gonna go right to the one that I think might be recognizable. Oh yeah, we got some good ones. Okay, how about this? This is a little bit of American history. Canada had extramarital affair with movie star, and then the subtext is sources say Canada prefers blondes.
Well, that's JFK.
And Marilyn
That is
Monroe.
right.
Marilyn Monroe, yeah.
JFK, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah,
How
I knew
about this?
one. Okay, that's it. That's all I know.
All right, you got one. Okay, candidate vomits on Japanese prime minister. Politicians forced to review lunch.
That was Bush.
That's
puked
right.
on at the Japanese consulate, I think it was.
That is
wow,
correct.
good job, Tico.
That's correct. Very good.
All right, let's do one more.
All right.
Go
How
a
about
little
this
bit
one?
further back, Jade.
Further back into history.
Oh yeah, you go really
what about,
far back.
Candidate conducts staff meetings from toilet. How about that one?
What?
Oh,
A little bit more obscure, yeah.
I know. Can't remember which president this was, but I do remember hearing about this one. I just can't remember which president it was.
No idea.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
I was going to guess Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, now he says it.
Notorious for that.
Now, as in real politics, you actually encourage in this game to negotiate truces or alliances with other players. How important is that? How important is it to have allies in the game as you're playing through?
I would say, I mean, the way that I like to play, I would say it's vital. I think that there are people that don't like to form alliances, and you don't have to. I mean, if that's not the way that you want to play, don't do it. Yeah, Ben doesn't.
Ben, you don't like alliances?
I don't trust playing with Jade. He's traumatized me.
Yeah. I've backstabbed him a little too many times. So, but I think that there's, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like fun things you can do when you're trying to make deals, and if you're ultimately trying to be the one that's winning, I mean, you have to kind of backstab by nature, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love playing that way, especially as you get into like Act 3 of the game when things get very like anyone can win. I think it gets pretty essential. And if you watch the playthrough video that we did, you'll see that the game starts out like a little calm and then starts to build and build and build. And by the end or near the end, we are making a crazy like 3-person deal to prevent somebody from winning.
Wow. Well, let's talk about some of the fun stuff that happened during your prototyping and during your playtesting. Do you have any fun stories that happened as you were testing through the game? Either one of you? Ben, do you want to talk about how Jade has scarred you for life during playtesting?
Well, I can tell you the most classic Jade move that has definitely impacted my strategy is Jade loves to, I don't know, I just call this move the Jade, where he'll kind of present this as a trade deal of like, oh, I see you have, or do you have any conservative voters from this region? Because I have this region that I think that you really need on your map. Do you want to try to work something out? And then you go, oh, yeah. I got 1, 2. And he goes, actually, and then he just plays a steal card and just steals it once he gets the answer he wants.
Oh, come on, Jade. Wow. Now you're a real politician.
Yeah.
I like that move. That is a good move.
Yeah, you're just fishing for information. I like to play the player, not the game.
Yeah.
Wow. How about you, Jade? Do you have any memorable playtesting stories?
I honestly, one of the most memorable games happened naturally in the playthrough video, and I don't want to spoil it, but
Okay.
there's this crazy twist at the end, and I think you should just go and watch it and see for yourself.
On the Pillbox YouTube channel, go check it out.
Yes.
It is a lot of fun. That's very cool. So let's get into the Kickstarter. Kickstarter starts October 6th, and it's running for, what is it, a month? Is it 3 weeks? How long are you going to run it for?
Yes, I think it's actually a little, like a tiny bit less than a month. We wanted to end right on Election Day.
Oh, nicely done.
Very well done. Yeah. Are there any Kickstarter goals that you can talk about? Any stretch goals?
Yeah, so there's a ton of stretch goals. If anybody knows about our last Kickstarter side effects, they'll know that we tend to go a little all out with our beautification of our games. So you can expect the same thing here. But there's some really awesome stuff. Like there's a tier where you can get your portrait in the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because every voter card, we're hoping, if we can hit this stretch goal, we're hoping to make every voter card a unique face on the card. Just like
that's
currency
awesome.
has a face, it would, yeah, unique face.
That would be
Yeah.
really cool. That would be awesome. Now, what about for anyone who misses the Kickstarter, after your fulfillment phase, where can people buy this game?
Well, I believe we're going to go right into retail after that, but it's going to be a while. So you should definitely back the Kickstarter if you want the game quickly, because everything is taking a long time right now. And as you know, manufacturing takes a while. So we're going to make the Kickstarter edition first, and we're going to go into manufacturing the retail edition, which will still be beautiful, but just won't quite have all the bells and whistles on it.
Sure.
I'm sure we'll have some extra inventory after the Kickstarter production. I'm sure we'll have some extra crates that we have to go through. So, the whole part of the whole thing of a Kickstarter is just kind of gauging quantities that we need to produce. So,
Of course.
we'll have a better answer after we produce.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just for those who may stumble across the game, long after the Kickstarter's done, it's nice to know if it's going to be in retail or not. But Kickstarter starts October 6th, going to run until Election Day, which is apropos for a game like this. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. The game sounds like it's a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see it in reality. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks
for having us. Thanks for watching Back Mud on Kickstarter October 6th. And don't forget to subscribe to OMG Nexus right there.